topic I have undertaken is rethinking the design of residential schools in view with the pandemic COVID-19. On March 11, 2020, World Health Organization declared the spread of COVID-19 outbreak as a pandemic and who reiterated the call for countries to take immediate actions and scale up response to treat, reduce the transmission to save people's life. Drawing on experience with other outbreaks such as Ebola, TB, malaria, certain measures were taken. One such measure is closing down of the educational institution to contain the spread of COVID-19. These nationwide closures impacted millions of learners. If we look, we can see that the current school system was designed to meet the needs of the previous century. If we look back, schools are very small operations in religious centers like churches, temples, or homes. India had Gurukula system of education, which made students become a part of all the activities in the house of Guru. Modern day school system and curriculum got confined to modern subjects like English, maths, and science. Thus, over the years, school buildings became temporary modules functioning more as a container of students than school building representing the importance of education. Pandemic and its effect on education. Our public education system was not built nor prepared to cope with a situation like COVID-19. We lack the structures to sustain the effective teaching and learning during the shutdown. In this process, children's academic performance is deteriorating during the pandemic, along with their progress on other developmental skills. COVID-19 resulted in the largest online movement in the history of education. Traditional classroom education offers the benefits of interaction with peers guided by a teacher. It provides children with a stable environment for social interaction. The crisis-induced delivery of homeschooling without the time for planning around children's learning style affected the learning process. School closures have clear negative impacts on child health, education, development, family income, and overall economy. In 1986, Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi introduced Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya (JNV), a completely residential school under the National Policy on Education 1986. It focused on the selection of rural children as a target group and attempt to provide them quality education. Every district of all states in India have one JNV each with school building, hostel for boys and girls, residences for faculties and staff, dining, kitchen, and ample of open space. This is a newspaper clip which states how children of JNVs were affected during the pandemic. In spite of being a completely residential schools, these were shut down, which led me to study more about JNVs. The aim of my project is rethinking the design of residential schools, considering Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya, Alappuzha residential campus as a case in view with the challenging pandemic like COVID-19. And the objective remains to explore the concept and design principles of residential school design to design a residential campus for JNV Alappuzha, integrating the curriculum of CBSE, to design a self-sustaining campus that will work in times of pandemic like COVID-19, to design a school campus with spaces that can accommodate the interests and activities of children to age group 11 to 18. Criteria for selection of JNV involved based on permanent affiliation of CBSE, based on building age, based on number of enrollment and dropout. JNV Alappuzha was established in the year 1992. The site area is 14.2 acres and the built area is 7,345 square meters. It is provisional affiliation of CBSE. Maximum intake of JNV Alappuzha is 480 students, but the number of students dropping out of the school is greater than Idukki and Kottayam. This is due to the dilapidated condition of the building. The school faced further deterioration from 2018 and 2004 floods. Due to the insufficient space within the classroom to maintain social distancing, it is now shifted to the auditorium. And the school authority have planned a proposal for a new school building before the Navodaya Samiti, which strengthened my reasoning for choosing the school. Moving on to the case study, first one is Akia, Bangalore by architect Sanjay Mohe. The attempt to create spaces that would understand the scale and energy of a child using elements of colors and varying volumes of building became the reason for choice. The type of spaces created within the school in varying forms such as OAT and playgrounds evolved as a solid platform for learning through discussion. The site is zoned into administration, academic cluster, and recreational. There are 2 layers of classroom with a corridor becoming a spine connecting the two layers. The corridors and bridges are staggered to have trees and plants and also to bring in light for the lower floor as shown in image 2. Spaces for performing arts, learning maths, painting, and other creative workshops are provided in the form of labs. The classroom layout is monotonous as there is no experimentation of different shapes for different age groups. The spill-out area for classroom is a long stretch corridor 2 meter in width. The next case study is Pallikudam. Pallikudam is a school that stands out in the field of education in terms of its educational curriculum, which includes workshops and interactive sessions and active participation in social and environmental issues. Even after 48 years, the school stands out as a remarkable work of the renowned architect Laurie Baker. The initial zoning done by using slope of the site. Upper condos are serviceable from road contains the functions of kitchen. The campus has two main entries, one with a prominent gateway and the second entry on the other side opening into the school ground. Vehicular entry is restricted at the second entry. The first block to be built on campus is designed by Laurie Baker called the Baker Block. All the classrooms in this block are of different shapes and sizes as Baker considers the monotonous repetition of rectangular classrooms will not be socially acceptable environment for a growing child. Furnitures used in the classrooms are not space consuming and can be arranged according to the mood of the children. Slabs are built along the walls used as seating. Room function as independent classroom and their focus shifts to the nature outside. Moving on to the third case study is Heritage School done by architect Madhav Joshi. A low-rise of assembly of modular buildings planned as integrated residential, educational, and amenity zones. The campus is a good composition of open and built space, giving the young users a sense of place, containment, and security in the vast open surrounding and landscape. The concept of serial vision is an inherent part of the campus design, and one can explore the sequence of spaces differently on each visit. All the spatial clusters are connected with corridors, which in turn is connected with pedestrian pathways of the campus, respecting the terrain of the site. Definite structure vocabulary with load-bearing composite stone walls, foam finish concrete, and infill of brick walls with aggregate plaster helps in overall development. The entire academic cluster is connected by a long stretch of passage, which acts as a spill-out space and also a major interactive space. This passage also helps in decongestion. Lab facilities are provided adjacent to the classroom cluster, making the process of academics easier. The labs have decongestion forms space in the form of balcony. Classroom arrangement is simple and a strength of 15 students. Moving on to the fourth study is the Rishu Valley School was set up in 1926 by activist and educator J.D. Krishnamurthy. J.D. Krishnamurthy's concern for humanity found expression in the founding of schools where not only nurtured academic excellence but also helped to explore the fundamental questions of life. The basic campus planning involves the access could be considered to zone the core area, the spark into a residential, academic, and playgrounds. Years of sustained reforestation, water conservation measures has now covered with a green cover of young trees. Tree grills are provided which acts as a good interactive space. All the blocks are oriented to common open space supported by semi-open spaces like verandas and platforms which acts as space for extension of activities. Classrooms are arranged around two courtyards with east-west passage in the center for entry and exit. A central courtyard is a key element around which individual structures are arranged. Moving on to the comparative analysis, I've taken 14 parameters and the analysis follows this. Restricting the vehicular movement inside the campus increases the safety of students and reduces the noise. Connecting the campus throughout with pedestrian path is an interesting element. Designing classroom according to the age groups of the students should be considered. Monotonous repetition of classroom should be avoided. The usage of variety of seating options using a different sets of furniture can increase the interaction and activity inside a classroom. Moving to the response to pandemic, in school AKIA from grade KG to 12 are placed in one single block, increasing the density. Also, the spill out space from the classroom is a 2 meter wide corridor. All the Pallikudam has different blocks for administration academics, where an academic block is further broken down according to age, have immensely reduced the congestion. But being it a day boarding school made a negative impact for the functioning of school. Heritage 2 is widely spread across the site and class capacity is to a maximum of 20 students. The spillout space is corridor connected with the pedestrian path of the campus, thus reducing the congestion. Rishi Valley, being a completely boarding school, made it possible to work even during the pandemic. The campus consists largely of open space, maintaining the air quality. Moving to the site study, the site is situated in Chennithala, is a village in Mavelikara Taluk, Alapi district, Kerala, South India. This village consists mainly of paddy fields and coconut groves. Chennithala village is 6 km from Mavelikara, 4 km from Madana, and 9 km from Haripad. It is a tropical humid climate with an oppressive summers and plentiful seasonal rainfalls. The wind direction is from northeast, and the nature of evolution of buildings on site is organic. Different buildings evolved as a residential plot of area. 2.5 acres was acquired by Navodaya Samiti in 1988. Image 3 represents the year 2021. The immediate context of the school contains a mix of residence and commercial built-up. Disappearance of thick vegetation and wetlands is evident. And moving into the landscape map, point 1 of the campus contains the maximum number of trees as buildings are present only on the edges. Moving to the SWOT, the strength of the site is that it is easily accessible because the state highway SH6 connects major towns like Tiruvalla and Mavelikara. The site is bound by sub-roads on 3 sides. The site is not affected by seasonal floods. Presence of thick and diverse tree species on site marks major landscape. The presence of SH6 is a major source of noise on site, as the current school building is placed in close proximity to the road. No tree buffers are present. The presence of thick vegetation on site of various diameter becomes an essential component for outdoor learning. The site is surrounded by residential units, which makes it calm and peaceful. The site is not affected by seasonal flood, and the presence of riverine alluvial soil is good for landscaping. Moving on to the special topic, is a flexible architecture, where the architecture which is not stagnant but offers its users with an option to make changes in the built environment as per their needs is considered flexible. The flexible design solution are required to cope with the changing users and their needs, focusing multifunctional spaces, movable building elements, and transformable spaces. The changing, moving, and displacing of interior elements results in expanding or contracting divisions or utilizing of spaces for varying uses. The walls, ceiling, floors, furniture, etc. are considered as flexible interior elements. The changing, moving, displacing of interior elements result in expanding or contracting or division or utilizing spaces for varying use. This shows how proper and regular air supply prevents the transmission of COVID-19 virus, which led me to the idea of great outdoors. The great outdoors is the concept in which all the activities are taken to the outdoors or takes place in the extensions of outdoors like balconies, veranda, or terraces. As in Milan, Italy, during the lockdown, the balcony became a space for expression of anxiety, isolation, appreciation, and of reaching out to the community. When this is done, it ensures that the concerned user group meet and greet in the openness of the nature, and it ensures that there is no form of air congestion. Coming to the user group of JNV Alappuzha, there are 620 people on campus, in which 140 people daily commute to get necessary supplies and others. Active hours of the school include 17 hours 30 minutes, and passive hours include 6 hours 30 minutes. There are 5 entities: school, staff quarters, mess, hostel, of which maximum occupancy in terms of time and space belongs to the school and hostel. On a regular day, 6 hours to 7 hours working time, the density of 550 people happens in school, and everyday duration of 10 hours 10 minutes with 140 to 160 students in 2 blocks respectively takes place in hostel. So basic zoning is carried out in a way to manage the crowd whenever the necessary or need arises. The total of 480 students is divided into 2 clusters of 240 each. The school is also divided into 2 parts with separate entries to accommodate the 240 students from each cluster. With kitchen and serve counter being a common entity, the dining spaces are also divided to accommodate 240 people in each cluster. So in the interior parts, we have the school, hostel, and the mess in close vicinity. And in the front part of the site, we have the entities like staff quarters and administration block. So that the people which come from the outside remains in the interior part, front part only. In spite of being divided internally between the school, hostel, and mess, the active areas of interactions are provided in between the blocks in the form of school ground, pedestrian path, landscaped seating, and internal play area. And the connection and these act as connecting elements so that the active interaction always happen in the open air. Moving from zoning to the master plan, the main approach to the site is taken from SH6 and another access taken from Navodaya Chennithala Road. The main road connects the entire site. Parallel to the main road runs the pedestrian path, which connects the administration building, hostel, field, and mess. We have a field in the south side. With field 1 and field 2, field 1 being the smaller patch and with adjacent water body nearby for watering the crops. Field 1 can be used for academic experimentation and learning. Field 2 is larger in size and can be maintained by all user groups on campus. Vegetables like okra, cucumber, cabbage, tomatoes can be easily grown, so these can be grown in the patches. And coming to the landscape typology, there are 4 forms used. One is the lineup, and one is a focal point, weave, and drifts. In lineup, 2 types of plants are used, one in the foreground and the other plant in the background. And coming to the interior parts, we have the weave. In weave type of landscaping, one plants come in and out of the focus, and interior parts we have the drifts, that is a grouping of the same plants, and that is used in the interior parts of the master planning. And in the interior parts we have the school, the hostel, and the mess, and they are all connected by the pedestrian paths, and a water body as an element connects the school and the mess, which also gives a visual aesthetic. Moving to the individual plans, coming to the school plan. The school is planned to become a connecting entity to hostel cluster in the north and south side, mess and administration block, and it has multiple entry points. The ground floor of the school is planned in such a way that it has classrooms for class 6 to 8 arranged on one side and space that are occupied only on timely basis like labs on the other side. And vertically above the classroom on the ground floor, we have labs and library, and that too is occupied only at certain time. And below the classroom cluster on first floor, we have labs, and thus the density of the people is reduced vertically. To bring in a visual aspect, courtyards at 2 levels is used, separating yet connected through outdoors. A module that can be arranged in n different types is used in the arrangement of classrooms. We have courtyards of different dimensions enclosing the classroom. A shared space is provided, uses a locus space for 3 classrooms. Each of the classroom can be expanded using folding doors. And these are the folding doors. We have classroom, class 6A, 6B. There is one separating folding door, and the yellow line indicates the fixtures of the permanent blackboard. It indicates the places where the presence of blackboard is there. And the next plan shows how the classroom can be expanded into the courtyard in needs of larger learning space. That is a strategy used for pandemic times. For example, if class 6A is occupying the space, class 6B can move to the courtyard space. Once it moves out of the classroom, the learning happens in the form of group discussions, group gathering. It becomes more of an informal type. The same happens in the cluster of 7A and 7B. And in the middle part, the class 8A, if happening in this space, 8B can move to either to this courtyard or to this courtyard. So there's an n number of possibilities in which the classroom teaching and learning space can be conducted. And plan 1 shows the other permutations or combinations in which the classroom can be arranged. For example, in plan 1, as indicated here, if you remove the folding door, if you open up the folding doors, we get a larger space, and this space can be used as a workshop space for conducting an internal workshop for class 6, 7, and 8. And there is another permutation in which, if we remove the folding, if we expand the space, we get a mixture of built, semi-built, and a built. So this entire space can yet be used for another conducting workshop. So we have this type of combination. Another combination includes where there's a mixture of built, and we are taking up one more courtyard as highlighted in blue and red color. And moving to the first floor, but here on the north side, we have labs and library and staff room. And here also the expansion of classroom in need of larger spaces depicted as in plan 1. And the n number of combination in which the classroom can be arranged is also shown. This is the section showing how classes are expanded in the courtyards and their connectivity to different floor levels. The hostel block plan, the flexibility comes in the form of balconies. One hostel block contains 12 dorms with 5 people in each, and vertical planning includes in the ground floor catering to common spaces like waiting lounge, warden's room, and medical room, and the upper floor consists of residential units. And this is the typical first floor plan, or typical floor plan of first and third floor. And here we have like dorms, and each bed space of the students residing in the dorms includes a personal study space underneath the bunk beds, and the rest combined space and discussions are provided in the form of extending balconies. And coming to the section, Section AA shows the connection of balconies at each level, which becomes an expression of outdoor feeling in the interior. And there are private balconies for each dorm and common balconies connecting element for the dorms on each floor. And there are 8 dorms on one floor, and it is connected by a common balcony as indicated in space 3. And garden balconies are provided with sunken slab that can be used to grow plants. This too brings in an outdoor feeling to the interior. Dining floor plan. The zoning depicts how kitchen becomes a common entity to separate dining for each hostel cluster. In the rear part, we have the dry store, cold store, meal preparation area, and cutting and cleaning. And the front part, we have the dining area, and it is interlinked by a green space. Dining is planned in 2 levels with common kitchen and serve counter. Ground floor dining area is a semi-open area. The marked space is at 0.00 level and is connected with a pedestrian path. It acts as the extension of the pedestrian path and the garden area. The ground floor dining area can also be used as a learning space, hence flexible. The red highlighted space is the open part of the ground floor dining area. Administration block plan, a semi-open transition space divides a building into 2 parts to manage the crowd, as we have visitors from outside reaching the building. An essential separation is brought in. All the common areas are arranged on one side, like waiting lounge, and the principal office, meeting rooms are separated from the public space by the semi-open transition space. The building is well ventilated. And the section shows the transition path is an extension of pedestrian path, and it divides the building into 2 parts thus separating the crowd. And the 3D image shows that the admin block is the first building of approach on site, and in front of the building, varying seating options are provided for the visitors. To the staff quarters plan, each staff quarter unit is 190 square meters, and we have facilities like bedroom, dining room, kitchen, store, common wash area, living room, toilet, open terrace, and balcony. The individual unit is provided with one large terrace and a private balcony near the dining area. The placement of the terrace and the balcony reduces the air congestion and helps in ventilation. Sunken slab of 80 centimeters provided at the edge of the terrace, which can be used for growing plants. This also acts as a buffer between the individual units on each floor. And when we look into the floor plan, there's 2 units on one floor connected by the staircase.